Good morning and welcome to StudyIQ. I am Prashant Pavani. I hope you all are doing good. Today is 14th June and let's see what we have got in the Hindu. But before that, a positive start. As long as I am learning something, I figure I am okay. It's said decent day, has been said by Hunter S. Thompson. What do you understand by this thing? We have some important articles. This is about army, fortress, or you can say cantonment area made by army in different parts of our country. So not that important for your examination. You can have a quick glance over it. It's basically talking about this harassment that you have to go through if you want to enter this cantonment area. There are some places where in nearby some cantonment area, people living for 4 decades or 40 years, they don't know what it looks behind this big fortress. So that's what it is all about. Not that important. Moving on to another item. This is about USA and North Korea. We have talked about it in detail. Now let's compare this to leaders. See here you find Mr. Trump is 72-year-old leader. He is a leader of one of the world's oldest democracies, right? The size of USA's economy is 18 trillion. Beg your pardon, $18 trillion, right? It's number one, you can say. And as far as size is concerned, and with a 1.3 million strong military, of whom 28,500 troops are just deployed in South Korea. So you can see that it's a very strong country, no doubt. And on the other side, you have North Korea. The chairman is Kim. He is 34-year-old. He is third in line, means he is the third person or the third generation leader of a totalitarian state. Economy is, or the size of its economy is just a $40 billion, and military force is 1.2. So you can see there is a big mismatch here. But as we have talked about this thing earlier on as well, that once you have this nuclear weapons, right, once you surmount this nuclear weapon technology, then you place yourself in such a position that even the mightiest or even the biggest and the strongest countries, right, they have to listen to what you are saying. They cannot take a quick hasty decision as far as your country is concerned, and that's what we are seeing here. Now it's a very unpredictable thing that is going on, right? Means everyone is happy about this 12th June meeting, no doubt, as I told you yesterday or day before yesterday, that we are going to find many articles and editorials on this thing. Now if you go through this article, then you will find that we have discussed all those things that you will find that once you go through this one, you will find that we have discussed all the items that are given in this article. So I'm not analyzing it in detail. It will be a repetitive thing, means it's not just for one time that we have discussed it. We have discussed this thing many a times. Moving on to this one, this is about green ambitious. It's about solar power and challenges that we will face as far as our renewable energy targets are concerned. This is about football. Again, you can drop it. If you are interested in football, then yes, go ahead with it. The missing tiers. It is about municipal level or local administration. When I say local administration, we are specifically talking about this municipalities and this municipal corporations, the role of mayor, and how this city management is taken over by state government. And now we have this smart India, smart city, right, smart city mission that is going on in this month. It is going to be 3 years of this smart city mission of our country, and what we find is that this central level is also taking over this local administration, indirectly, not directly. And here you have two articles. This is about Rohingya, and this is about how mathematics is creating, or lack of understanding of this division of reservation seat is creating problems. We'll go through these articles in detail. So let's move on, dear friends, as you have got a brief of what we have on our table. Of course, we have gone through 2 articles as well. Now, up to 50% discount is available on our pen drive and tablet courses. This is going to last till 17th June. If you have any question or queries, make sure you give us a call on the numbers that you can see on your screen, and do check out StudyIQ.com. You will find all important details associated with our pen drive and tablet courses from our portal. You can get in touch with me via Facebook or Twitter, and don't forget to hit the like button. And let me ask you, how many of you do share, right? Do you genuinely share this lecture with other people? If not, then please do share it, right? It will help me, it will help StudyIQ, and it will help all those students as well. This is something that I can expect from you guys, particularly regular students with this green ambitions. Now, recently, Union Power Minister R.K. Singh, we have talked about this thing, right? That this is 175 gigawatt capacity or power. 175 gigawatt is not a small figure, right? It's a huge figure. So by 2022, and this figure should be there in your mind, there should not be any doubt at all about it. So 175 gigawatt will be produced by our country from, or we will produce electricity of 175 gigawatt from renewable source of energy, predominantly solar and wind. Now, the thing is, recently our Union Power Minister R.K. Singh has said that we are not just going to touch this 175 gigawatt, but by 2022, we are going to clock 225 gigawatt from renewable capacity. This is a big hip hooray moment, no doubt. But is it practical? Is it achievable? Or this is just a sort of exaggerated hope? Let's find out. Now, we have two major issues as far as our renewable program is concerned, renewable energy program is concerned. The first is technological. Even today, we don't have that good technology. We ask for, or we are importing, in fact, many different components from different parts of the world, particularly China. Then you have financial challenges. Do we have enough money to throw, or rather not using the word throw, I would rather use the word investment. And as speaking about word, let me tell you very quickly, I have seen this thing in the comment section that many times students do ask me to bring out vocabularies, right? You want to learn vocabularies. Now, the thing is, if you want to learn vocabularies, and many times you say that words that are difficult. Now, defined difficulty. What do you mean by difficulty? The thing is, a word that is difficult for me could be an easy word for you. So the best thing that you can do is, see, nowadays you have smartphones in your hand, right? So the best is just make sure you have a good dictionary or internet connection. And if you find any word that is challenging, or if you don't understand, then just check that one out, right? And that's how you learn, and go through the sentences. If you want to improve it or give a touch of perfection, then you can write down a sentence as well. Like here you can see a word that you don't find normally, right? Wafer thin. Now, what do you mean by wafer thin? So wafer, you know it, they are very thin, right? They are not thick. That means they're very slim, right? The other word for thin would be slim. So a wafer thin item, you can say that when we say wafer thin, that means something that is very slim. So now you can use it in multiple ways. We'll go through it. So this is how it works. So help yourself with it, friends. I'm not the best person to teach you vocabulary. Anyways, I can teach you, or I can give you some hints, but you have to do the hard work by yourself. Now, coming back to our discussion on financial challenges. So, do we have enough money to invest in renewable energy? You can say yes as well as no. When I say yes, I mean to say that we have to. We don't have any choice. We are fighting pollution. We know how many people are dying just because of air pollution, how much we are losing because of this air pollution, right? As far as environment is concerned, biodiversity is concerned, then you have other sources of pollution as well, and all these things are creating big problems for us. So it's more like that on one side we are making money, we are building our house, on the other side we are finding that walls are collapsing. So sustainability or sustainable development is the only way for our survival. It may look not that important now, but after 15 years we won't have any choice at all. So solar energy, yes, wind energy, we need to invest in it, but we are a big and a poor country, right? It may look bad, but yes, we are a poor country. We have maximum number of poor people living in our country, so we cannot just utilize, or we cannot just invest. Many times I'm sure you would be thinking that why can't we change things? Why can't we just inject money in this and this sector? Why can't everyone be provided with house? And it looks as far as your imagination is concerned, it looks very it looks that we can sort it out, but when you think practically, then we find that there are challenges. Having said that, I don't mean to say that I'm being optimistic or being pessimistic. I am absolutely optimistic about our country. Yes, we can. So you have different baskets, right? You have energy basket, then you have food basket, you have security, you have education, then you have other things, right? You can go on. So you cannot just invest everything in energy, right? You cannot say that we'll not provide money for this basket. Just give people energy, free electricity for everyone from solar, then other things will get they will go out of balance. So we cannot do this thing. So we do expect countries like developed countries like USA and other countries to provide us technology. Of course, we are ready to build our technology, but finance is not just about purchasing solar panels and this wind farms and other things. It is also about investing money in R&D. I hope things are clear to you now. So both wind and solar generation are erratic by its nature. Day and night impacts this solar and again season as well. And here wind is something associated with temperature, season, and all these things do impact the production. At some times it will go up, at sometimes it is going down. What we can do is we need to add batteries to it, right? Batteries designed, those batteries that can store power when it is at its peak, and when it is at its low, it can distribute this power without losing, or you can say with minimum loss of electricity. So for this thing we need research and development. For that we need money as well as technology. So again, it's a sort of a cycle, right? That you have to, or a circle that you have to break and come out of it. Then you have this solar tariffs and wind tariffs, big advertisements, and we find this sort of things in newspapers, isn't it? That power, or this tariff basically means per unit cost has come down. So it is cheaper nowadays, right? Very cheap, solar and wind energy. But the thing is that with this drop in price, this margins or the profit that you can make is also coming down. So any sort of you can say disruption can be catastrophic for this industry, right? For the suppliers, for those investors who have invested huge money in this thing. If they find that they are not going to make money, or if there is a bit of change, then this wafer thin profit will turn into huge losses. So this is something that should be looked after or taken into consideration as well. Then you have this 175 gigawatt target. So as far as this 175 gigawatt target is concerned, if you go back in 2016, what we find is that we have missed our milestone or target. In 2017 as well, we have missed our target. And to catch up with this 175, 106 gigawatt will have to be added in 4 years. This is going to be more than twice the capacity added in last 4 years. So this itself is an incline climb that we have to do. The other thing is photovoltaic cells, which we import predominantly from China. Now you have lobbies here. They are asking for, or they are protesting or demanding that the 70% safeguard duty should be applied on all these photovoltaic cells that we import from China, so that local companies can produce it, and this flooding from Chinese companies can come to a hold. But the thing is, if we do this thing right at present, then again it is going to impact this supply first of all, right? And it will create problems for this wafer thin margin that we have talked about. Any sort of a disruption in supply will also create a disruption, and this will increase the price, and profits may come down, or it may hit this industry very badly. So this is again a thing that we have to be very careful about. And now one more thing, practicality about this rooftop installation. Now out of this 100 gigawatt, out of this 175 gigawatt, we have decided that 100 gigawatt will come from solar energy, and out of this 100 gigawatt, 40 gigawatt will come from rooftop installation. That means this panel that you have on your terrace, may it be industry or may it be your residential area. So 40 gigawatt from residence or industry, or basically from terrace, and 60 gigawatt from big solar parks. Now solar parks are all right, again they are a bit expensive, but anyways our main focus here is this 40 gigawatt that we are aiming to get from this rooftop installation. Now first of all, it is expensive. Second thing is that what will you do with excessive power? You cannot keep your bulb on or fan on unnecessarily, isn't it? It's going to be stupid. So the best thing is that you can supply it, or you can sell this excessive energy to government or this local smart power grid that can store this battery thing that can store excessive power. But for that we need proper meters, net metering, that's what it is called, right? Let me give you the word here, net metering, that's what the word is. So we need net metering, but still this is something that is not, you can say it has not proved positive results. We have some pilot projects going on, but still it's not a thing for masses as far as our current situation is concerned. So we have to be very careful with this thing. It is necessary, but you have this tricky situation, many challenges. Moving on to another item, this is about the missing tiers. Now you know that we have this we talk about this thing that we have 3 levels of management or administration in our country. First one is central level, national level, then you have state level, and then you have local level that we call as Panchayati Raj, and as far as your urban management is concerned we call it municipalities. Now constitution was amended, 73rd and 74th amendment. 73rd is associated with Panchayat, very important for you to remember, and 74th is creation of this municipalities in our country basically, and we have municipalities in different cities in our country. Now they came into force in 1993 and both in 1993, one in April and one in June. Now what are the problems that we find, this missing tiers that we say? The thing is this local administration, or this, when I say administration, do take it as municipalities and panchayats. Predominantly we are talking about municipalities in this article. So this local body that is supposed to look after all this, based on this constitutional amendment, it was the main idea or agenda is that your city, you take your decision, right? You will have municipalities that will look after your city level or your urban level necessities, and this is how it works. This is sensible, right? It looks all right. Decentralization of democracy, which is absolutely fantastic. It is working very well in different parts of the world as well. You might have seen many movies based on these things. In America you have, you have your city mayor, and he or she will take all the decisions, and they are the ones who are in charge. This city of London's mayor is a very famous person. He visited India I think last year, 2017, he came here. So you can see like mayors are given this much importance because they are the proper or real administrator of these local cities. And one more thing that I would like to add here, we have talked about this thing many a times, and you might have read about this thing, that cities, our urban areas are growth engine, right? They are growth engine of our economy. So we of course want to see that this engine is running smoothly. If it is having too many problems and piston and other items are not working in your engine, then it is not going to perform very well. So for that we need a proper holistic municipalities. Now what we find here is that state governments are taking over. State governments are basically political leaders at city level. They have to follow this state level government. I'll just give you one example. Imagine that you are living in a city called A, and in your state you have a party called X, right? X is a ruling party of your state, and this is your city. So naturally you will find, when I say naturally, I mean to say politically, that's how they have created this situation, that the party that is ruling at state level, that party will decide who is going to be a leader of this city. That's how it works. And how they have done this thing is, you see, you have mayor, right, in city, but mayor is just a ceremonial head. The executive powers of the corporation are vested in the state government appointed commissioner. So commissioner is the person who will have real powers, but this person is appointed by state government. The other thing is that they have taken over the control of this city from, because they place all these politicians, they belong to this party X, then because of this thing, if they want to climb higher, if they want to become minister or MLA or other thing, they have to follow what state government or their party is saying to them. So in this way, you can say directly, indirectly, state level or state government is controlling city area, which is not as per its agenda of this 74th constitutional amendment. The other thing is that municipal corporations are further denied their political role by continued operations of various parastatal agencies created by state governments. So you have these urban development authorities, you have public corporations. What they do is they look after water and they look after build infrastructure and other things. And these agencies are created by state government, so they don't report to this local municipalities. They report directly to state government. So they will do what they feel is right for them. Then you have this urban planning and land use regulation, again controlled by state government. Now we have one more thing, Smart City Mission, which is a central government program, and under this Smart City Mission you have special purpose vehicles. So this special purpose vehicles, they will have their own chief executive officer, and what this smart city missions or missions like smart cities are trying to, you can say, inject is that this executives, this CEOs of this SPVs will take all the decisions, and it is promoting or it is pushing the state government to make sure that this decision making power is there in the hand of this chief executive officer. So you can see here that on one side state government is taking away all these rights of this local mayors and other people, and on the other side you find this central missions are coming in. So basically there is no sort of three-tier management or three-tier democracy or decentralization of democratic power in our country. Now as I told you, cities are engine growth. The other thing is that the cities are expanding as well. We find people from different parts of the country, they are coming and living in our cities, our big cities, right? Expanding, ever expanding cities. So you cannot have just local people. If you cannot just say that local people will represent all of us. We need to genuinely give more autonomy. They have to be more cosmopolitan. We have to make it more inclusive, right? We have to understand this diversity of people living in our cities, and based on that we have to make sure that decision making power is given or is actually in the hands of these municipalities. Only then, if we have central agencies and state agencies, then they should be working under municipalities rather than other way around, because these local people, they are the ones, local leaders, they are the ones who know exactly how and what is there in that particular cities. They are the son of the soil as far as this city is concerned. Moving on to another item, this is about Rohingya. Now you have this institution, Amnesty International. Is it part of United Nations? Is it a sort of NGO, or what Amnesty International is all about? Do let me know in the comment section. This is your first question. Second question pertaining to same item is where do you find its headquarters? Right, these are the two questions I'm leaving for you guys to answer. Now you have this Arakan Rohingya Salvation Army, ARSA. Remember the name, right? ARSA, Arakan Rohingya Salvation Army, belongs to which country? It belongs to this country of Myanmar. Let's zoom it up. This is your Rakhine state. It's part of this Myanmar, and you have this river Naf that is dividing Bangladesh and this Rakhine state of Myanmar, and then you have this issue of Rohingya that is going on for a bit of long time in this part of the world. Now, of course, we are also affected by it. Now, Amnesty International has recently said that this ARSA has committed serious human rights abuses against Hindus in North Rakhine state in Myanmar. As far as this AI is concerned, one of the main motto of AI is to uncover all cases of human rights violation, right? Without any partiality, without any bias, right? They will bring out what they have found. So this is a good thing. Now, the main question here is not about Hindus. It is not about Muslims, right? When we say just Muslims, when we say just Hindus, we are just talking about a particular tree. But when we talk about human beings, when we talk about people, we are talking about the whole jungle. We are talking about the whole ecosystem, right? And here, when I say jungle, I'm talking about society. I'm talking about world. Not just talking about our local society. We are talking about this world society, world community. Right? We may be different. We may look different. We may eat different food. We may wear different clothes. But at the end of the day, we are all human beings. We feel hurt. We feel bad. We feel good. Right? All these emotions, all these things are universal all across the board with different human beings or different societies. Now, the thing is, this sort of things are going on in Myanmar and Rohingyas as well. Now, see, this ARSA are not representing all Rohingya people. We have to understand this thing. You have few people in this ARSA, very few, right? Very tiny number. And they are supported by vested interest, and they have their own. Many a times you find that they are right because of atrocities that are going on for a very long period of time. But if you look at it from a human angle, if you look at it from this legal angle, then raising weapons or taking weapons and law in your hand is not going to solve the problem. It is in fact going to create more problems. So what they are doing is all these acts conducted by them is labeled as acts conducted by all the Rohingya people in the world. Now, serious risks are there for Rohingya people if they go back to Myanmar at present, right? We do understand this thing, but as far as our country is concerned, we have termed them illegal immigrants. Union Home Ministry has termed Rohingyas as threat to national security. Now, the thing is, if we find someone is a bit of problem, or if you see that a couple of people out of this 40,000, if you find, say, for example, 500 people are troublemakers, if they are involved in serious crimes, then as per Article 1F, we can reject their asylum application. But what about other people? They are poor people. You see here, since 1970s, we find that Rohingyas have fled to many different parts of the world. But this, to be more precise, this 2017, we find 40,000 Rohingyas they have reached in our country, right? They are somewhere nearby the borders here, and then you have and here, and then you have nearly 1 lakh plus, not 1 lakh, sorry, but 6 lakh plus refugees in Bangladesh. So we are helping Bangladesh because of our friendship and relationship with it, but we have to pressurize Myanmar. We have to take a positive role here and make sure that they return to their homeland. This is the best thing that we can do. If we have to engage with China, we should do it. If we have to engage with Myanmar, we have to. If we have to engage with the United Nations, then we need to. But we need to sort out this issue. We don't need, we don't want to see another, I can say, a sort of military or militant group in this part here. We don't want this ARSA to become a big problem for this part of the world. Now you have the math problem in faculty reservation. Basically, University Grants Commission said that rather than taking or considering a college or university as a unit, you should take a subject or department as a unit. So if it looks a bit difficult, let me tell you, when you have to appoint faculties, rather than saying that we need 30 faculties, just example, right, or 100 faculties in a university, rather than that, you say that we need 10 in maybe Department of Science, right? So this is how you break down. In Department of Math, you need 5. In Department of Agriculture, you need 10, whatever. So a reservation will be given based on this departments, right, or subject, rather than taking university as a whole. Now the problem is, if you see here, you go through this chart, right, if you read this article, you will find that this table, all these columns are explained in this beg your pardon, they are explained in this article. So what it is saying, that if we go through this 13-point agenda, 13-point basically means this 13-point roster, not agenda, but 13-point roster is this thing that I told you, that dividing it into different departments. If we go through this thing, then we find that this reserved seats of OBC, SC, STs, they are not covered, right? In fact, the total you can say reservation is just 35% when you go through this method of 13-point. But when you go through this method of 200-point, or take this whole university or college as one, and if you make sure that you know that 50% is the limit set by Supreme Court, so one seat unreserved, one reserved. If we go through this way, then we find that everyone is getting a right amount of, or this cake is divided equally between all of us. So this is the thing. Because of this mathematical error, this 13-point roster, things are not working very well. Moving on, this is, dear friends, your important news. Help yourself with it. You can download this file. Of course, today we have gone through many articles, important articles, so I'm leaving news items for you guys to go through, and these are your answer. This is just one answer. The other one was descriptive one. I have gone through it, and these are 2 questions for you guys. Thank you very much for listening. Enjoy your studies. Jai Hind.